here. How do you feel like y'all did there?
Well, not close to where I want to be. Not close to where we want to be as an offensive unit. Came out with the intent to run the football. I think we rushed for 197 yards. Our goal is to rush for 200. I'd have probably been a little bit more easier to deal with if we'd have rushed for 198 yards and got that one more yard right there and scored on that fourth down. But the one thing that was promising, you did see some, at the point of attack. On some occasions we were physical up front. On other occasions we weren't. So there was a little inconsistency there. But we're going to run the football. I mean, that's what we're going to do. And I think that I don't want to say we got tired or gassed or drained or whatever. I mean, I that's not what I want to come out here and tell you. But I do think that at some point in time that we weren't as physical as what we should have been. And that's on me. We get about 14 reps a week against good competition as far as inside with our number one against the number one defense. And I didn't think last week we were very physical during that 14 play time. It's almost like we backed off in a little game prep and felt like we didn't have to be as physical. I think it showed a little bit. So I challenged them this morning that those 14 we're going to get 14 good reps. Or 4, whatever it is. I think we go 7 minutes a day on it, and we're going to get something good out of 7 minutes. It may be 7 minutes of up downs, but we're going to get something good for 7 minutes. And but when we have to have a yard, we're going to come get that yard, and that's going to be something we're going to use to challenge them. But back to your original question, do I think we were as physical as what we want to be? No, absolutely not. Are we taking steps? Yeah, there are definitely some bright signs there. We just got to get more consistent.
When you look at the back of the tape, how does it compare to, say, like your first game a year ago at Tulsa in terms of comprehension and precision?
Too many mental errors. We had way too many mental errors from a standpoint, from the quarterback standpoint all the way down. When we had, like I said, one thing I remember, we're sitting there with. I want to say it was in the second quarter, and we're sitting with a 2nd and 4, something like that. We run the power for 2 yards, and then the next play on 3rd and 2, we do. Taj does exactly what he's supposed to do. We pull the zone, throw the bubble off of it, and we don't block the corner. It's a mental error, and that was when we were in had our back-to-backs of the 3 and outs, and so too many mental errors at all positions. But to be expected a little bit in the first game with a new offensive coordinator and a new system. You knew you were going to have some mental errors, but we've got to cut back on those as well.
Where do you think Taj is in regard to comprehension of this offense? You indicated you had to maybe simplify some things.
Yeah, I thought the first half, I thought he had a glazed over look, maybe kind of hazed over at me. I mean, just kind of staring into outer space a little bit. And he was just, he was reverting back. He was reverting back to just backyard football instead of trusting his reads. And that was one of the things that he and we talked about numerous times on the sidelines during the course of the first half. Is you have to trust your coaching, you have to trust your reads. And he kept telling all the right things. I am, coach. I'm trying. I am. And I said, well, we're going to make it simple for you, but you got to, at some point, you got to execute. And so I think a lot of it had to do with the fact that he was his first big start. I don't know if he's gotten 64 snaps last year, but he got 64 snaps last Saturday. So I think the way it started was in the back of my mind, the way I was picturing it, because I told them on Wednesday of last week, until we actually get into a live game, I do not know. I know how they respond in practice, and I told y'all last Monday, I don't know how they were going to respond. And for the first half, it was a little shaky in that regard. Nobody panicked. I wasn't panicking. I knew we had to fix a few things, but we had to get to half to fix it so we could get in there and settle everybody down and say, look, we're pressing too hard. It's all right, let's just go. And but the promising thing is obviously what happened after that.
Is that why you didn't take as many shots down the field as you probably would like to?
Yeah, because we kept having too many 3 and outs. I mean, we had 6 3 and outs, and anytime you have a 3 and out, you basically cost yourself a minimum of 3 more snaps in a game. Well, we basically cost ourselves 18 more snaps in a game, and we snapped the ball in live play 69 times, but realistically, with 2 false starts, you snapped it 71 times, and we had a timeout, so that was 72 snaps. So we're on track to get our 80 snaps. It's just we got to avoid the 3 and outs, and I felt like one bad play, we couldn't ever get over with just one bad play in a series. Whether it was an incomplete pass, whether that was dropping back and Taj not hitting a hot and he just slips down one time, or just whatever it was, a negative yardage play, we weren't good enough to overcome that early in the game. And so yes, that is exactly one of the reasons why we just we take our shots, but it wasn't as much as I wanted to take. A lot of it had to do with the young guys we had.
Was the pace at what you'd like it to be?
No, absolutely not. No, not even close. No, not even close. And that starts with our quarterback, and I think you saw him in the second half. That was one of the things you saw him in the second half when he picked his pace up and our tempo was going well. We were moving the football. We play well when tempo is going good. And again, it goes back, and you're having to remind these guys on the sidelines every possession of, hey, look, this is what we're doing. Now, don't forget that you got to be looking at me on the sidelines. And it was almost like they were reverting back. And I mean, everybody was telling me, about, I walked off the field. I was 468 yards of offense, scoring 43 points. I was ticked off. I thought we could have had more. Against a very good Troy team. They weren't bad. A very, very talented team. But I'm hearing, we hadn't had all this, and it's the best opener and as far as yardage and all. I don't care. I mean, that doesn't bother me. We've got to, this is our standard. We're going to play like this. We're going to play fast, and we're going to play physical. And so, and I have to remind myself, where this offense has been in the last few years and several years, and not been known for their explosive plays, to where we were Saturday. I mean, it's going to take a little time, and I have to try to remind myself of that. It didn't get this way overnight, and it's not going to get fixed overnight. And but we did make huge strides in second half.
What veterans did you not see enough out of, and
all of them?
Did you see enough?
Every one of them. Every veteran didn't play up to our standard. None of them. We've from a consistency standpoint, did see some good things. And again, and this isn't a negative press conference by no means. I mean, I'm proud we won. Heck, I love it. You love a win, but that's not our standard, and that we're not gonna accept the way we played. That's not going to be acceptable, and we're going to hold them accountable. We're going to strain them hard this week. We're going to work them hard, and we're going to get better. But I think that you saw some leadership and some guys kind of step forward. I was proud to see some of that. And Dwayne Allen was one that really stepped to the forefront. I was pleased to see that. The offensive line was communicating with me on the sidelines. It's just that, we've got to be more consistent in what they're telling me, and going out and me believing them and going out and calling. We got to be able to execute it. And again, there was a lot of good things that happened out of it. But as a coach, we can't sit here and we're not ready to order rings just yet.
How did you feel about Sammy's first game? Obviously, he had the strong start, but it also seemed like he became kind of a go-to guy for you guys in the passing game in the second half.
Yeah, I thought Sammy had, obviously with the ball in his hand, Sammy did a lot of great things. There's no question. But when the ball wasn't in Sammy's hands, he didn't do a whole lot either. So we've got to get Sammy to understand that ball in his hands, and that ball not in his hands is just as important. And again, a lot of that has to be with being youth, being young, playing that way. I mean, but he's definitely a difference maker. He's a game changer. There's no question. I think we all saw that and what he can do. But again, and I've been saying it since we got here in January. All these guys I know can catch football, or they wouldn't be here. But we've got to learn. We've got to learn to play hard every play without the ball, and we haven't gotten there yet. And but we're going to get there. We're going to get. There's no question we'll get there.
The problem with the blitz, especially in the first half, kind of coming off the edge, was that Taj not reading the blitz before the play, or somebody not picking it up?
No. I think it's a combination of a couple things. We did miss a couple of hots to where he should have got the ball out, and the other part of that was from an offensive line standpoint, we should have outed a few of those and picked those hots up off the edge, and it was nothing more than a linebacker walking up, coming off the edge. You shouldn't have really thrown hot. We should have outed that and been safe with it. But we missed a couple hots, and then we missed a couple of those out calls. A lot of that, they were moving somebody every play from a defensive line standpoint. We knew they were going to do that. I mean, we told them that all week, showed them that for the last month. So that wasn't surprising, But until you get out in actual game mode with people around, and I mean, and you find out a lot about them. And there's nothing, you can't simulate that. You can try, but you cannot simulate it. But we did see a lot of improvements as the game progressed. Which, as a coach, that's what you want. Will your players respond to the changes that you make or to the adjustments that you make? If they do, you've got something. And I think our players definitely did that.
Have you seen changes in the depth chart this week, or will it be status quo?
Well, right now every job's open right now. I mean, so it's hard to say right now. I mean, I don't foresee a whole lot of changes in our depth chart. I really don't know, but we want guys to feel, that they're battling for their job every day, and so we'll know more about that later in the week. I know we've got some guys that we're going to really push hard and hope to motivate in that regard, and if they respond, great. If not, yes, you will see some changes.
When you say better without the ball, do you mean specifically blocking, or do you mean running full routes, or both? Blocking,
running routes. It's not the route problems that we're having problems with. That's not it, because there's a chance they could get the ball. Okay, that's not the problem. It's the running, the fact of blocking without the ball and being more physical. And again, I kind of felt this may happen, but it can't not be tolerated. I mean, we're just not going to tolerate it. And if we had done it 5 plays, I'd be just as concerned about it as if it was 10 plays. But we're not going to tolerate it, and we're going to be known for being physical. And again, it's a process. It's not I'm not coming in here and sprinkling any dust on these guys and it's all fixed. It's not. It is a process. We as coaches have got to coach harder. We got to strain them harder. We got to push them harder. And if they don't like it, then they can come over and sit down. But they're going to respond. And they've all responded. And we saw that at halftime.
In one area where you talk about Dwayne Allen's leadership, it seemed particularly you used him a lot on the screens as one of the chief blockers out there. An area he's come along.
I think Dwayne is. He was really vocal on the sidelines as far as talking with me. Hey, coach, this is what they're doing. This is what we're seeing. How about come to this? What are you thinking about this, coach? I mean, he and I, we were talking, and that was great to see. And what's impressive about it, it wasn't, a lot of guys when they talk to you, they want, some point in time they got an agenda. They want, hey, the ball really should be coming to me. I mean, they all say that, but really with Dwayne, it wasn't that way. It was more concerned in our run game, and hey, look, this is how we need to, let's do this. Let's look at that, coach, and I can handle this guy or that guy, and so that's what I'm talking about with Dwayne. Again, just a good leader for us, and keeping Taj. He was over there really talking with Taj and saying, man, just settle down. We got it. We're gonna get you know, we're going to get things going. Andre was another one, Ellington. So I kept thinking Andre was fixing to break one, and you know, it was just so close on a couple occasions, but that was just part of it. So. Anybody else? I do think, though, as we finish this thing, that there were a lot of good things as we finished up the game and how this thing ended, and to be able to have, and I think we showed, you know, our guys believed how quickly this thing could just explode on people, and how quickly we can put points on the board. And with the playmakers that we got, we just got to be able to come out and play and put 4 solid quarters together. And it may take a bit to get to that point. And they're learning my personality and learning my style, but we're going to get there. I was very pleased with the way that they responded. I mean, anytime you're trailing at halftime and be able to overcome that, I mean, we may look back at this thing in a few weeks and say, you know, hey, that was one of the best things that happened, because it really refocused us and also showed that they trust the adjustments that we make as a coaching staff at halftime. So, all right.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
Thank y'all.